So, as I said before, usually depending on the size, thank you, depending on the size of the the fabric that you're using, I'm using 14 point Aida. Um, and there's like 14 point and 11 point and 18 point and 22 point, all of those different ones. And basically, what that means is that tells you how many stitches per inch, how many squares per inch you're going to get. And this is 14 point Aida. So you get 14 stitches per inch. Now, I use two strands of thread for 14 point. And I think that gives me pretty good coverage. Right? So when we get a skein of floss, it looks like this. Right? And when you tear it off or cut a piece off, it looks like this. But it's not that thick, and you don't stitch with the whole thing, right? This, I already took one off, but it separates, let's do it this way, into 6 separate strands. So if I'm just gonna do thread my needle in the more traditional way, um, just like thread it through and tie a knot at the end, then I use 2 strands, right? But if I'm gonna use the loop method, it is a lot, right? So it looks like a little small thing. You're like, what do you pay like $1 for this? No, this is a lot. Because this thing over here, is that the right way? Yeah. Is only going to take 5 skeins, and that's only because it's got 5 different colors. So I'm not going to even use 5 full skeins. So if I'm using the loop method to start my to start my stitch with a new color, I use one strand of thread, and then I fold it in half so that there's 2 halves, 2 open ends. And this will be easier to see this time because we're using colors. And then, I was going to say I lost my needle because I didn't put it on the binder. You thread it through and you just pull it as far as you want to. I don't make it too long because I don't want it to get tangled. And then you figure out where you're starting. Because I know I'm working on the C, boop, and calm, the very top of it. What I do is I figure out where I'm starting. Right there. And I make the first leg of my stitch. I haven't pulled it through too terribly far because on the back end we have that other side, right? That had the loop in it. And there it is. Right there. So you take this needle, you put it through the loop, and you pull it, boop. Look at that. It secures it, and it's flat because there's no knot. Good night, Supreme Fire. Have a good night. Yeah, it's flat. There's no knot, but it's secured. It's not coming out because you've stitched through that loop. So there's no way that's coming loose. Now, so the upside and downside, right? Upside is that's secure AF. It ain't going nowhere. Downside is that is a monster to pick out if you make a mistake. Ta-da!